Okay, so question 1, we've got write the following as decimals. Now, you got to remember that, I guess, if we have a decimal, 4 point something, 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 what does this refer to, Lauren? Sorry? Yep, so decimal points here. What does this refer to in terms of a fraction? Tenths. So this is the unit 1/10th. This is the unit 100th. And this is the unit 1000th, and so on. So you guys should have known that with 4 3/10 is the same as 4.3. Now, 1000th, well, we don't have a thousand, we have a thousandth here. 100th is actually, there's 0 hundredths. So the answer is 4.306. Hands up if you got that right. Hands up. All right, so about half the class are sort of polarized there. You'll probably find that those students who didn't do so well on that or didn't get the answer right is because they didn't realize that it's 1000th, which is it's the third decimal place. There's 6 1000ths. So the answer is 4.306. Now that's all you really had to do. You just had to write the answer. Okay, as a decimal. Okay, 300ths. Same thing then, if we've got 0. Well, 300ths is, well, this is our tenths. So we've got 0 tenths. So that's a 0. And then we've got 300ths. So if you think about it, 3% is the same as in decimal, is 0.03. A lot of people see that as 30%. No, it's not. 0.03, 3%. 0.03, so we've got 1000th, which is 1, and 5 10,000ths, which is 5, because clearly the next point over here, that is 1 10,000th. So the answer is 0.0315. Hands up if you got that correct. All right, so about 50-50, a bit more than 50%. Okay, once again, you've got to be careful. That refers to this unit here, not this one. Okay, let's go for the next one. Write in decimal form, 4 tens, 3 tenths. So 4 tens is 40, 3 tenths, and 6 thousandths. Well, this here is the hundredths. This is the hundredth. So there's 0, and we've got 6 thousandths. Hands up if you got that right. Okay, good, good. Now I want you guys to be giving yourself ticks and crosses and stuff as you go, because it appeared as though half the room didn't get that. Okay. Daniel bought a toothbrush for $1.67 and paid in cash. How much would he actually have to pay for the toothbrush? Yes, Lauren? Do we round, what's closer, $1.65 or $1.70? Yep, so she would pay, or she, Daniel's a she. It's a lady. $1.65. Sorry? How much would he actually... That's the second one. The first one, he would just pay $1.65, because you can't pay $1.67. Sorry? Yeah, that's this part. At a supermarket, if you just went to buy a Snickers bar and it was $1, I don't know, you wouldn't buy one, Lockie, would you? $1.67, and it was $1.67. If you just bought that, if you paid with card, you just pay that much. If you're paying with cash, they round it down or up to the nearest 5 cents. So if we have $1.67, what's closer? Is it $1.65 closer, or is it $1.70? Okay. Okay, so he's paid in cash. So he's tried to pay for an item which is $1.67 with $5 in cash. They have to round down. Or if this was $1.68, then they would round up to 170. Yes, so the answer is $1.65. Now, how much change would be given? Well, that's just a simple decimal. $5 take away $1.65. Let's do that. 0 take 5. We can't do that, can we? So, but can we borrow from here? So what do you do? So you make that a 4. Make this a 1. You make this a 9. Yep. You make this a 10. Thank you very much. So 10 minus 5 is equal to 5. 9 minus 6 is equal to 3. And 4 minus 3 is... 4 minus 1 is 3. Decimal points in the same spot. $3.35. So you would write this. Receives $3.35 change. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Round the following to the number of decimals. So we've got to round this to 2 and this to 3. Shh, thanks. So whenever we're rounding to 2, so we've got 45.657, and we need to round to this. Now, whenever we're rounding to 2 decimal places, we have to look at the third. So we have to look at this, and we have to ask ourselves this question. Do we round up or down? Well, 7. Is it greater than 5 or less than 5? Greater than 5. So we actually have to round up. Now, what are we rounding up? We're not rounding up this. We're looking at this and then rounding up this. So this 657 becomes a 6. So the answer is 45.66. That is what you should have. Now, really, all you need to do is have the answer. You don't need to show any working there. When we're doing this one to 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3, we're going to look at this one and then do something to that. That's greater than 5, which means that the third decimal, we then round up. So the answer over here is 1.376. Hands up if you got that one right. Ooh, not too many. Not too many. I think we might need to work on our rounding. Same as rounding off whole numbers. Remember, we were doing that? It's the same thing with decimals. No different, except for just forget this decimal point ever existed. No different. That's why I didn't spend a great deal of time on it. But some of you are fair to say you need to work on that. Write these fractions as decimals. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. First of all, you can do your long division, in which you could do this. But you know what? 6 divided by 25. Another thing you could do is, well, a fraction. If we were to multiply this 6 over 25, if I multiplied the bottom by 4 to get to 100, and I multiplied the top by 4, then we've got 24 over 100. Now, once you get 24 over 100, it's pretty easy, because if you're dividing by any power of 10, here's 24, decimal point. If I'm dividing by 100, do I move back 1 decimal point, or 2, or 3, or do I go forward? We go backward. So we go back 1. Ooh, what happened there? Ooh. All right, so 0.24 is our decimal. So whenever you're dividing by a power of 10 or multiplying by a power of 10, it's really easy. Otherwise, we could have done this. Can you explain this to me, Mr. Buckley? 6 divided by 25, what do I do here if I was to do it this way? Yep. 0 after the 6, yep. Twice. remainder 10. Yep. Then I guess you could put the 0 here, couldn't you? Yeah, now that's where our decimal point goes. Sorry? 2.4. Yeah? Now, what do we have to do though? We've added that 0, so we have to go back one decimal place. Okay, 2.4 goes back to this, which is 0.24. You can see here that 0.24, 0.24, they're the same thing. How you come to that, up to you. I'm not going to force you to do it a certain way. I prefer, in this case, now over here though, 5 divided by 8, you can't do it as easily as you could the first one. We've got to go 5 divided by 8. Now 5 divided by 8, you have to borrow. You have to make this 5 a 50.
So 5, 8 into 0, what, 8 into 5 goes 0 times?
So it's 0.
8 into 50 goes 6 times, remainder 2.
6 times, remainder 2.
Then it goes into 2 times, remainder 4.
2 times, remainder 4.
And I'll go into
5 times. So your answer is 0.625. Now, I would suggest that not many students would have done that because they wouldn't have realised they had to do long division. Hands up if you got that one right.
I know, I did it a different way.
Okay, how'd you do it, Tyler?
I did 100 divided by 8.
So Tyler's done 100 divided by 8. Yep.
So then what you would do then is you would get 1/8 of 100, and then you would just times that by 5 to get the answer.
So you've done 1/8 of 100,
Yep, and then I've just times that by 5.
and then you've times that by 5.
Yeah.
So how do you get 5/8? How does that become 5/8 then?
Well, I don't know. What I did is I did division.
Mhm.
I did 8 into 100, and I got 12.5.
Oh, you've done like this,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 12.5, and then you multiplied that by 5. Okay, yep, that's more like it. Yep, that's fine. And you get your full marks because you've done it a different way. But it's the right way. Come to the right answer. To me, it's the right way. Calculate the following. Okay, now I would have expected a number of you to do pretty well on this, but you can see that some of you have really struggled with certain questions, which means we've got to then revise a bit more. A test isn't tomorrow or the next day. We'll probably have a test first thing next week. Okay? Good. So we'll revise this week, test first thing next week. 2.34. Where do I put the decimal place? Well, in the same spot. 576. Yes. Now, we've got, add any zeros. 0 plus 6 is 6. 4 plus 7 is 1. Carry the 1. 9. 2.916. That what we got?
Yeah.
Okay. I would expect most of you to get that right. Remember, if you show you're working like this, you'll get your mark. If you get the answer, you get a mark. If you just got the answer with no work, you can get no marks. Because otherwise, I might sort of think that you've used your calculator. You're not allowed to bring your calculator. 23.4 takeaway. I'm going to get rid of these stupid little dingies. That's better, isn't it? 6. Oops, where's my pen? My pen has disappeared. 6.75. So really important to put the decimal point exactly where it's supposed to be and fill in with any zeros so you don't make as many mistakes. 0 take 5. Well, we have to borrow from here. Make that a, is that a 10 or a 9? What do you think?
10.
It's a 10. Good. So that's going to be 5. And got to borrow from here. What's that make this? 13. So 6. We've got to borrow from here. That makes that a 1. What's this then? 12. 12 take 6. Is that what you got? Okay, good. So a number of you, because this is, I guess, a rehash of what you've done in primary school just by using a decimal point, you should be doing okay with these ones. I'm probably a bit concerned at the moment with the rounding. the long division, and certainly in terms of money, that question. And question 2. All right, let's keep going. We're almost there. That's really good. So far we've got 15 minutes of video. We've got about another. Yeah, let's just go through it as quickly as we can. Okay, a number of these are pretty easy though. Now over here, calculate the following. You didn't have to do the really, really long way. You could have just done this. 35.78. If we're multiplying by 10, 100, whatever, we go this way. It's getting larger. Otherwise, it's going, if we're dividing, it's going to go this way. So the answer is 35. Here's a decimal. 1, 2, 7, 8. So the answer is 3578. Who got that right? Hands up. Oh, not many hands. Okay, over here, 0.034 times 7. Now, 0.034 times 7. How many decimal points do I have? 1, 2, 3. Remember when we're doing this, if we've got 3 decimal points here, 3 decimal points, then we need, or decimal places, then we need 3 in the answer. So whenever you're multiplying by, if you're multiplying 2 decimals, if one has 2, one has 2, that's a total of 4 decimal points. Over here, we've got 3 times a whole number. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. 7 times 2 is 14. Oh, 7 times 0 plus 2. So it's just 2. Good. Now, we have 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. Decimal point goes there. Is that what your answer was? Who got that? Hands up if you got that. Good. Hands up if you didn't even get to that question. Be honest. All right. Now, if you're not getting up to that question in 40 minutes, then you're going to be struggling for time. Really struggling. So, it's probably an indication we needed to practice more. Okay, 12.5 times 300. Okay, so, number of ways you could do this. If you did 12.5 times 3, that could be an easy way. Because 12.5 times 3, 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1, 3 times 2 is 6, 7, carry, no, there's no carry the 1, 3. We've got 1 decimal point here, so therefore we've got that. So we've got 37.5, and now we've got 37.5, well, it's not times by 3, it's actually 300. So we need to move this decimal point how many places? 1, 2. So the answer is 3,750. Otherwise, if you wanted to do it the other way, which is 12.5 times 300, fine. However you got there, don't mind, as long as it's not with a calculator. David, you're going to explain to me, how'd you do this one? Shh, getting a bit noisy. You did times by 3, and then you moved 2 decimal places. Okay, so David's done it that way. I'm going to say to you guys that just remember here we've got 1, 2 decimal points, and over here we've got 1, 2. So in total we have 4 decimal places in our answer. That's the way I would do it. Now you don't have, if you do it a different way, that's fine as long as you show you're working. Yes, Tyler?
For the previous one.
Yeah.
Because there was already a decimal point in the 12.5, wouldn't you put a decimal point in the answer and then move it up?
You could do that as well. Yep. Um, 300 times 12 is 3600, and 300 times 0.5 is equal to 150. That plus that is 3750, yeah? That's the right answer. Now, what are you asking? You're asking this decimal point. Well, that's fine, but remember we're multiplying by 300, which means that we have to move that decimal point 2 to the right. So no longer do we have that decimal, if that makes sense. Now, what that means, Tyler, is that our decimal point, it's still there, but it's 0 anyway. Anyway, sorry, we'll move on. We'll come to that later. Over here we have 4 decimal places. So 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15, 16. Carry the 1. Now, we've got 4 decimal places, so we've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is 0.0168. Who got that? All right, so be careful. A lot of you need to work on multiplying 2 decimals. If you've got 0.2 decimal places times 2, it's 4. Answers this one. These ones should be easy. 36.66, 36. Shh. Coming a bit noisy. 1, 2, 3, 4. The decimal point goes here, so our answer is 0.003663. Hands up if you've got that right. I think we need to practice that. We're going to do some revision. No, you don't do that. Okay, this is a tricky one. What do we do here? We've got a decimal point. 4 goes into 0. No times. 4 goes into 5. 1 remainder 1. 4 goes into 4. 16. 4. And 4 goes into 6. 4 goes in there 5. Is that your answer? Okay. Long division. Some of you need to work on it. Girls at the back. Shh. We've got 6 minutes to get through those questions. Write the following as percentages. These should be pretty easy, because whenever we have a decimal to percentage, we just times by 100. So 0.06 times by 100 is equal to 126%. Hands up if you got that right. Good. 3/5. Now, 3/5, the same thing. You can times that by 100 to get to your percentage. Now,
You can even times both of them by 2 and then just figure it out.
yep. So 300 over 5 is the same as 60. But remember, when we multiply it by 100, that's actually to find the percentage. So this isn't 60, it's actually 60%. Now remember, it helps to do some estimates. So 1, if you just had a fraction or the whole number 1, that's 100%. 3/5, think about it, is 3/5 of 100%. 60%. 3 over 40, well, I guess you could do a few things. 3 over 40, though, if you just do that, once again, times 100, that is going to be equal to 300 divided by 40. 40 into 300 is 7, 2, 7 point what? Remainder, is it remainder 20? Okay, so therefore 40 into 200 goes 5. Now, that's going to be the same as 7.5%. So that's a bit trickier. It's not a full percentage. Okay, we're almost there. Write the following fractions in the simplest form. Well, 36% is the same as 36 over 100. Done. Are we done yet, though? No. Let's just say that the highest common factor is 4. Divide the top by 4 equals 9 over 25. Can we simplify that? No, our answer is 9 over 25. 115% is the same as 115 over 100. Can we simplify that? What would you divide the top by, Shayla? What would you divide the top by? What's the highest common factor of? Good, let's try 5. 5 and 5. That's going to go in 23 times, and that's going to go in 20 times. Can you simplify that? No, because 23 is a prime number. Mixed numbers, so that's the same as 1 and 3/20. Very good. Read the question carefully. Very good. Write the following as decimals. 6% is the same as 6 divided by 100. And if it's 6 divided by 100, then we've got 6.00000000, and we're going back 1, 2. Hold on a sec. 0.06 is your answer. 45%, 45 over 100. It's going to be no, it's not, 45. 224%, 224 divided by 100. 1, 2, bang, there it is, 2.24. 5% of 140. Well, 5% is the same as 5 over 100 multiplied by 140. Let's cancel this out. 70 divided by 10. Do you get 7? Shh. Thank you. Now the following people need to remain behind, please. You can go and get your recess and bring it in here. Yep, I know. Okay, so in this question we've got, I'm just going to finish this off, 9% of 160, well that's 9 over 100 times 160. And cancel out some zeros, so we've got 9 times 16 is 144 divided by 10, which means we take the decimal point 1 back, and the answer is 14.4. Mario received 32 marks out of 40 in his spelling test. What percentage was this? Well, 32 out of 40, and then we want to multiply by 100. So that's the same as 3200 divided by 40. Let's cancel out those zeros. 320 divided by 4 is 80. But it's not 80, it's 80%. So whenever we have a fraction, any fraction, we can multiply by 100 to find its percentage, 80%. Farmer Brown, if 3/4 of his chickens, what percentage of Farmer Brown's chickens are Rhode Island Reds? Well, if 3/4 are White Orpingtons, then we have to take that away from 1 to find that 1/4 are Rhode Island Reds. sold 9,000 eggs and received 2,070. So, how much is the cost of each egg? So, we have to divide $2,070 by 9,000. Now, as an easy way to do this is we can take off 1, 2, 3, which means we can take off 1, 2, 3, decimal point. 9 into 20 goes 2 with 2 remainder. 9 into 27 goes 3. And 9 into 10 goes 1 remainder. 1 and so on. We're just going to have this recurring decimal 1, 1. So you could say the cost of each egg was 0.231 recurring, or 23.1 cents. Farmer Brown has 150 chickens on every 0.2 hectare. If he owns 3.6 hectares, so if he has 150 in 0.2, 3.6 divided by 0.2. Well, let's take this 0.1 up, which means we do the same to this. 2 into 36 goes, well, it's just easy, isn't it? It's 18. So if he has 3.6 hectares, he has 18 times 150 chickens. 10 times that's 1,500. 1,200. 2,700. So he's got 2,700 chickens. And finally, the two neighbouring farms are also free-range egg farms. Farmer Austin has 1,540 chickens on 2 hectares of land. Which farmer has the best chicken conditions? So this is a rate one. 1,540 divided by 2 hectares, and we've got 5,460 divided by 7 hectares. So what you need to work out is this is going to be roughly, that's going to be 770 chickens per hectare. And this one over here is going to be, well, I'm going to have to work that out, aren't I? 7 into 5,460. 7 into 54 goes 7, 5 remainder, 8. 7 into 0. So we've got 780 chickens per hectare. Now, which one has the best chicken conditions? This one. So Austin does. All right, that's it. These questions you need to really just practice. A number of you are really struggling the moment you have to read and try to think logically.